cupcake shop. The new light and fast Surface Pro 6 helps them on the field and in the shop. Get more power and more speed with the new Surface Pro 6.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Janine Herbst. President Trump says he isn't happy with border security negotiations taking place between the White House and a bipartisan committee. In a wide-ranging interview with CBS's Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation, Trump says all options are still on the table, including another partial government shutdown.
Well, we're going to have to see what happens on February 15th.
And you're not taking it off the table?
Well, I don't take anything off the table. I don't like to take things off the table. It's that alternative. It's national emergency. It's other things. And, there have been plenty national emergencies called.
Trump also says he may declare a national emergency if he doesn't get that money for the border wall. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam is still on the job despite growing calls for him to step down over a racist photo on his medical school yearbook page, including Lamont Bagby, the head of the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus.
He was up front, I believe, with us and shared what he genuinely thought was his position and what had transpired, but it just wasn't enough for us to continue to support him as the head of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Meanwhile, Northam's alma mater says it now has launched an investigation into all past yearbooks. Protesters are back outside a federal jail in Brooklyn today, angry about conditions those inside face, including spending a week in freezing cells after the power went out. NPR's Shannon Van Zandt reports.
As a polar vortex enveloped much of the East Coast, prisoners at a detention center in Brooklyn have gone without heat and access to computers and phones. New York City Council member Brad Lander visited the prison and spoke with inmates.
They're really traumatized. It's a week now. They've been without power, with limited heat, with no contact with their family members, much of the time on lockdown. So the folks that I talked to, it had been 48 hours since they were able to leave their cell to take a shower.
Prison officials say an electrical fire last Sunday caused an outage at the jail and promised that the power will be fixed by Monday. Shannon Van Zandt, NPR News.
The organization that operates a migrant rescue ship in Italy may face charges of aiding and abetting illegal immigration. Christopher Livesay reports the vessel spent nearly 2 weeks in a port waiting for Italian authorities to let it come ashore.
Prosecutors in Sicily have opened an investigation into an organization called Sea-Watch. Last month, its ship in the Mediterranean Sea picked up 47 migrants, including 15 unaccompanied minors. The ship brought them to the port city of Catania, but Italy's populist government and new anti-migrant measures prevented the undocumented migrants from disembarking for 13 days. And now the organization that pulled the migrants from the water may face charges of criminal conspiracy. Meanwhile, 5 EU countries have vowed to take in the migrants instead of Italy. For NPR News, I'm Christopher Livesay in Rome.
And you're listening to NPR News from Washington. Pope Francis is in the United Arab Emirates, becoming the first pontiff to visit the Arabian Peninsula. Francis is participating in a conference on interreligious dialogue. Before leaving Rome, he called for an end to Yemen's humanitarian crisis. Super Bowl 53 is underway in Atlanta as the Los Angeles Rams play the New England Patriots. For member station WABE, Emma Hurt has more on fan favorites.
The Patriots are the team to beat, and New England fans are the clear majority here at the game. Larry Davis is one Rams fan who made it to Atlanta. He's confident about his team and says it's time the Tom Brady streak ended. Brady is the longtime Patriots quarterback with 5 Super Bowl rings.
We're tired of him. Tell him to go home, retire. We don't need him anymore.
Ryan Lee is a Patriots fan in town from Massachusetts.
We've just been in every year. Of course, people are sick of us. When my team's not in, I always root for the underdog, so I can understand. But to hate the Patriots, you can't deny greatness.
The Rams haven't been to the Super Bowl since they lost to the Patriots in 2002. New England has played in 7 other championships since then. For NPR News, I'm Emma Hurt in Atlanta.
Nissan is canceling plans to make its next-generation X-Trail SUV in the United Kingdom. The company says it will instead make it in Japan. That's a blow to Brexit supporters trying to create business in northern England, where Nissan employs some 7,000 workers. This as Britain prepares to exit the European Union. Britain is coming up to an end-of-March deadline to exit the EU, but UK politicians are divided over Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit plan. I'm Janine Herbst, NPR News.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour. And we are back. You're listening to Fate Mag Radio here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. We are out of Birmingham, Alabama. I'm Kat Hobson. I'm your host. I am joined tonight by the wonderfully interesting, always informative, she's written a new book. She's a conspiracy journalist, and her name is Jean Broida, and she's my friend. Welcome back.
Thank you, Kat. Such a pleasure to be here and now.
Yes. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, let's get back to it. You know, these breaks, I understand, are a necessity, but sometimes they're just intrusive.
Well, you got to pay the piper if you want to dance, is my understanding.
That's true. That's what I'm told all the time. But, well, go ahead. Let's get started.
My train of thought, of course, derailed during the break. I'm sure we were talking about something fascinating.
We were talking about remote viewing and the check-in sisters who are... But I did have something I wanted to say about the check-in.
Please do, but one thing that, as a skeptic, I continue to ask, and I'm sure listeners in the audience do so too, I would hope. How do we tell if a video of a UFO is real or hoaxed? How do we tell if a crop circle is real or hoaxed? How do we tell if a channeling by a psychic source is real or hoaxed?
Well, with the crop circles, there have been methodologies devised to ascertain if it was done by human physical touch or any physical touch versus the energy that would be expected from the little bit that is shared with the public about propulsion systems. So that kind of has been answered. As far as a video of a craft, CGI is a marvelous thing until you're trying to separate reality from not. Then, as far as a psychic channeling, it would depend, I think, on the legitimacy and accuracy of the information that they're sharing, and if they're sharing from an unknown source. I think that at least with these sisters that you were talking about, they're trying to use something because from my understanding, what comes through as far as alien contact, whether it's with an abductee who is within a craft or whatever is happening, you know, if there's a face-to-face incident of some type, everything that I've heard is that communication is telepathic. Certainly with Grace, because they don't appear to have verbal skills such as we have from what I have read and been told by experiencers. So,
and here we have sisters where one of them has the psychic connection and the other does not.
Yes.
So what is it that makes that distinction, that differentiation?
And they're twins. Are they identical twins?
Well, I don't know that they're twins. They're sisters.
I thought you had said twins. My bad.
I don't know that I said twins. If I did, I probably misspoke. I don't know if they're twins. I have no reason to think they are.
Okay.
But I couldn't tell you which is older or which is younger, as a for instance. These are very recent acquaintances, and they are publishing videos and whipping up interest in their topic. And it's of interest to me because I read Alien Interview, which was allegedly dictated by this same entity who is now dictating to one of these two sisters. And that is very interesting to a person whose keyword is communication.
Yes.
That would be me. Are aliens communicating with humans? And if so, what so? There seems to be more to the message than merely loving each other, which is the fundamental message. There doesn't seem to be a lot of cookbook remedy for solving our problems, which suggests that we're supposed to solve them on our own. And that seems very reasonable to me. Why should some other force or intelligence solve our problems? Surely they have problems of their own. And perhaps we can't even understand what those are.
I would think
with
that
our
we
limited
could not.
intelligence compared to them.
Yes. I would think that we would not be able to comprehend their experiences in life simply because they appear to have different means of transportation. They have different means of communication. Nothing that people who experience them or have said that they've experienced them. There's not a lot of common ground. So we wouldn't comprehend their lifestyle or their problems. Other than they're really nosy about us.
They do seem to be much more taking than giving.
Yes.
But maybe we're just not asking the right questions.
I think that's a strong possibility. And I also think that's because, the general public is being kept away and kept ignorant of things that I assume must be known about them because there has been interaction. There is documented government interaction. And I don't mean just a spaceship that's zipping by and making a pilot go, holy crap. I mean real communication. So I'm curious about that. And why that without information you can't make a judgment. And we have dropped Jean.
Here I am.
Oh, there you are.
Back.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm having this intermittent problem.
I don't either.
But you cut out for a while there. But
well,
now
I heard
we're
you
back.
bleep like you went away from Skype and then you were back. So I'm just pleased that you're back.
Me too. So how far had we gotten?
Well, I was just talking about the fact that, without information that the government withholds from us, we don't know. The general population knows nothing to be able to make any kind of judgment relevant to who or what we're dealing with, what their agenda may be, what their interest in us stems from. We have nothing.
It's true, and one of the more interesting facets of this phenomenon, in my opinion, the fact that so many people know so little about it. But again, part of the reason ufology is in its current state of understanding, for better or for worse, is because independent researchers are doing independent research using the internet. But there is so much content that could occupy a human's attention. There's so much in the world to do and to know and to learn and experience that we have to apply these filters. And if you have kids, your interests are going to probably fall along the sports club, sports team workouts after school. If it's a musician, concerts and rehearsals, and et cetera, et cetera. You take the interests of the people in your family. You take the interests of people at work professionally, and perhaps there's some bleed over into your social or recreational area. In some companies, at least they want to foster that illusion that we're all a big happy family, and more power to them if they really are. But there seems to be something of a social disconnect, and one attitude among ufologists is that joining consciousness not only to commune with higher intelligences, but to interlock and interlink each other through masterminding is a very effective way to raise our consciousness in a hurry, no matter what federal governments do, or no matter what majority people think. We can go ahead and raise consciousness, and we're just fine. Thank you very much. And more people who hear about it can hopefully tune in as well, should they care to.
Well, there's all kinds of programs that are coming together, helping to educate people in how to do that. I think that's really neat. You have events like Contact in the Desert, which, by the way, is going to be the last weekend of May, moving into June of this year. And if you are not familiar with it, you have to check it out. ContactInthedesert.com.